Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Scott Grossberg, author of The Most Magical Secret, 4 Weeks to an Ecstatic Life. And I want to talk to you about a very interesting development that has happened. You know, when I went to write The Most Magical Secret, I knew three things. I knew you had an obligation to be successful. I knew you had an obligation to be happy. And I also knew that most of the things that we've been taught in our lives about happiness and success are completely useless. I was a philosophy major, some of you may know that. Got my degree in philosophy and sat through a lot of classes that talked to all the students about the concept of happiness and the concept of lots of major life themes. And I distinctly remember during some of these classes raising my hand and asking the professor to notice me because something just didn't ring true. This was a philosophy that I was hearing. It wasn't actually a way to live life. And so when I wrote these books, first the main book and then the action guide, my intent was all about providing you with substance that you could use to live life, to actually say what you wanted and then do what needed to be done. So imagine an interesting conversation that just took place where someone, maybe even you thought these things, someone got a hold of me and said, you know, Scott, I read the book and I went through all the things that you talked about, and there's nothing new here. This is just derivative stuff of what other people have said. And I was taken aback because to me, this is a unique way of living life, of doing life, of actually declaring a life of magic and changing up what most people don't do. So I wrote back to this individual who had voiced concerns, and I said, did you just read the book, or did you actually do, with the emphasis on do the things that I've asked you to do in the book? And it turns out the individual just read this. This is not a book to be read. It's a book to be read and acted upon, but not just to read and philosophically internalize. That's not going to get you a life of happiness and success. Magic has to be done, and it has to be shared. So that then led to the writing of the action guide. And I want to talk to you a minute about how to use the action guide, the workbook. You see, one of the big things that I think you have going for you, being part of this Most Magical Secret private group, is the ability to be held accountable, to have accountability partners in this group where you can say, this is something that I want to make happen, this is something I want to do, and then we're going to write you back. I've done that with a number of you. We're going to write you back and say, have you done it? Have you stayed on track? Have you stayed on course? Are you a heat-seeking missile? So the next step from that, and by the way, just as a little digression, if you haven't done that, I urge you, go on to our Facebook group, post some accountables, and watch what happens. It's amazing how just that small action in and of itself will keep you on track. So that then brings me to the action guide, and the idea, the idea behind the action guide is for you to create a small group where you can all hold each other accountable. Yes, there are specific plans and strategies and techniques and actually new content in the action guide, but really it's all designed around keeping you accountable to the group and then having the group act as accountability partners for you. Now, I'm going to say that again. The real power behind the action guide is to create a group where you're held accountable, where you can't just think about the magic, you actually have to go out and live the magic. And that's going to change up everything for you. So if you haven't seen the action guide already, go online to Amazon, do your free preview. In fact, I believe there's a free preview if you go on to my book page on my website, thinkingmagically.com. Take a look, and you'll see the impetus behind everything that I want for you right now. So take a moment today. If you haven't already, go onto the Facebook group and post some accountables, things you want us to hold you accountable for, things you want to achieve, and that we will help you move towards. I'll be one of your biggest cheerleaders, by the way. And then take a look at the action guide and see if creating a small, you can call it a mastermind or a brain trust, whatever works for you, but a small action group of like-minded people, if that won't help move everything to the next level. So make those commitments for me. Go online, take a look at the free preview. You don't have to buy a thing, just take a look at it. And now go out, make it a magical week.